Your dog does the look. You know, the inner eyebrow lifts, the forehead wrinkles, the eyes get huge and impossibly soft. And whatever you were going to say, whatever rule you were going to enforce, whatever reasonable boundary you were going to hold, it crumbles. You give them the treat, you let him on the couch, you forgive the chewed slipper. You think it just happens to be cute. You are wrong. Dogs evolved that expression specifically to do that to you. In June 2019, a team of researchers led by Juliane Kaminsky at the University of Portsmouth published a paper in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. The title was Exactly as Written: Evolution of Facial Muscle Anatomy in Dogs. The team had dissected the heads of 6 domestic dogs from a range of breeds and compared them to the heads of 4 gray wolves. They were looking for one specific structure, a tiny facial muscle that humans find irresistibly compelling when activated. The muscle is called the levator anguli oculi medialis, or LAME for short. It is a small ribbon of muscle that lifts the inner corner of the eyebrow, pulling the inner brow upward and slightly toward the midline of the forehead. In humans, the equivalent gesture is the universal expression of sadness or pleading. It is what gives us furrowed brows when we are upset or worried or asking for something we cannot demand. When this same muscle activates on a dog's face, it produces the exact expression that humans interpret as sad, pleading, vulnerable, and adorable. When Kaminsky's team examined the wolves, they found something striking. In every wolf specimen, the lame was either absent entirely or present only as a few scattered, disorganized fibers too weak to produce a clear eyebrow movement. In every dog specimen except one, the lame was a fully developed, robust, distinct muscle, sharp, clean, functional. It produced the expressive lift consistently and powerfully. The one dog without a fully developed lame was a Siberian Husky, which is interesting because Huskies are among the breeds most genetically close to ancestral wolves. Their facial expressions, if you watch closely, do tend to be more wolf-like, less exaggeratedly puppy-eyed than other breeds. The pattern is consistent. The further from the wolf, the stronger the lame, the closer to the wolf, the weaker. So when did this muscle evolve? The most likely answer is that it appeared at some point during the 33,000 years of domestication that separate modern dogs from their wolf ancestors. Dogs that happen to express more sympathy-inducing facial movements toward humans probably received more food, more shelter, more protection, and produced more offspring. Their puppies inherited slightly more expressive faces. The cycle compounded. In effect, humans were unconsciously breeding dogs for the ability to make us feel something. Generation by generation, we selected for the dogs whose faces moved our hearts. We did not know we were doing it. We did not have to. The selection was emotional, and the selection was massive. Tens of thousands of years of human caregivers choosing, consciously or not, to feed and protect the puppies that looked most plaintive. Over that time, an entirely new facial muscle showed up that did not exist in the ancestor. Kaminsky's team did not stop at the dissection. They ran a behavioral experiment. They put dogs in a controlled room and watched him through a one-way mirror. Each dog was filmed while a human stood in front of them, attending to them. Each session was filmed again with the human turned away, not attending. They measured how often the inner brow lift occurred. The result was unambiguous. Dogs raised their inner brows significantly more often when a human was looking at them compared to when no one was looking. The expression was not random. It was not a tick. It was directed. The dogs were producing the expression in response to human attention. It was, in every meaningful sense, communicative. So why does this expression work on us? Because it triggers the exact same emotional response humans use to recognize sadness and vulnerability in other humans. When a person sees lifted inner brows on another face, human or dog, the brain activates regions in the limbic system associated with caregiving, empathy, and protection. We are wired to respond to that signal. Even when we know intellectually that we are being played, our nervous system reacts before our cognition catches up. In a related study, Kaminsky's team showed that shelter dogs who produced the puppy eye expression more frequently were adopted faster from animal shelters. The trait had real consequences for survival. The dogs who pleaded with their faces got out of the kennel sooner. The dogs who did not stayed longer. Selection pressure is still acting on this muscle in real time, every single day, in adoption centers around the world. Not all dogs do it equally. Breeds selected primarily for companionship, Cavaliers, French Bulldogs, Dachshunds, Labradors, golden retrievers tend to be the most expressively puppy-eyed. Working breeds bred for tasks where human emotional manipulation was not the point. Livestock guardians, sled dogs, some terriers, sight hounds tend to be less so. The trait, like coat color and ear shape, has been amplified or muted by what we wanted each breed to do. Here is the broader implication of all of this. When you and your dog look at each other and feel something pass between you, that exchange is the product of tens of thousands of years of coevolution. Your dog's face is, in part, a sculpture made by your ancestors. Your emotional response to it is, in part, a circuit reinforced by the dogs your ancestors chose to keep close. The two of you are linked in ways that go all the way down to the muscle fibers around the eyes. Studies using oxytocin measurements. Oxytocin is the hormone associated with bonding and attachment, have found that when humans and dogs make sustained mutual eye contact, both species experience a measurable rise in oxytocin levels. It is the same hormone surge that occurs between mothers and infants. The puppy eye expression is, in a real biochemical sense, a key that unlocks the human bonding system, and it works on us because we made it work on us. One generation at a time, across an unimaginably long stretch of shared history. So the next time your dog hits you with those eyes, just take a second to acknowledge what is happening. A muscle that does not exist in wolves is contracting on cue in response to your attention. A neurochemical cascade that evolved to bond mothers to babies is firing in your brain. You are being manipulated by a system both of you helped build. And then, of course, you will give them the treat anyway, because that, more than anything else, is what makes the whole circuit work. You are not weak. You are working as designed. And so, is your dog